voice of Indonesia.
Hello, listener. Welcome back again to Voice of Indonesia's Dialogue. Today, we already have our guests, Bapak Avianto Amri, PhD, the chairman of the Indonesian Society for Disaster Management and Mining, and also Bapak Miming Saepudin. Is that right? The head of Weather Predictions Team of Indonesian Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency. Hello, gentlemen. How are you today? I hope you guys are doing great.
Pagi. Morning.
Ya, selamat pagi.
Wonderful. And of course, as we all know, we are going to talk about the weather warnings and also disaster mitigation. And to begin, I would like to know the answer from the BMKG part first. Pak Miming or Pak Saepudin? I should call you. What should I call you?
Miming okay, Saepudin okay.
Miming okay, Saepudin okay. But Miming, there is a lot of information that we find out from the media and also from social media, to be exact, about the cyclone threat that could affect Indonesia in the near future. Is that true?
Yeah, actually currently in February, we are in the active period of tropical cyclone formation in the southern equatorial region, which decision of the TC is from November to April. And in this February, the potential for tropical cyclone developments remain high, of course, particularly in the southern areas of Indonesia. And based on the today analysis, we have two tropical cyclone still monitored by BMKG. By today, there are two tropical cyclone fins, which located about 2,000 kilometers from Java Island, of course, and but the fins tropical cyclone has minimal direct impact on Indonesia's land weather, but it's generating a high sea wave over 2 meters in the waterways of the Bengkulu to Lampung. And the second one is tropical cyclone Thalia, which positioned 1,000 kilometers from Bali. It's far away, near western of Australia. And the system can cause moderate heat to heavy rainfall, strong wind and lightning over the next 24 hours in southern Baton, West Java, Central Java, and parts of Yogyakarta. And additionally, high wave over 2 meters expected to in the southern Java Sea, Rhode Island, and the southern Indian Ocean near Banten and Java. Both cyclone for Thalia and Fins, of course, expected to remain active for 1 and 2 days and 2 days after, but moving southwest and away from Indonesia. So their impact on land will gradually decrease in next 2 days. But however, the resident in southern coastal areas should remain and aware of high waves, while inland region, especially southern Java, should be prepared for heavy rainfall and strong wind. And it's also important to note that the extreme weather condition in Indonesia are not solely caused by tropical cyclone. Other atmospheric factors such as MGO, we call for Madden-Julian oscillation phenomena, and then monsoon activity can significantly increase the rainfall, especially during January and February, as the peak of the rainy season in Indonesia.
Wow.
So in this case, BMKG will continue to monitor the system of the tropical cyclone in southern part of Indonesia.
Okay, so that explains what kinds of weather that we are actually having for the last 48 hours. It's about, it's raining so hard, and then it also has like a wind blows so rapidly, right? So that explains what happened. It's about the cyclones. And exactly, going to Pa Avianto. Pa Avianto, you are from the community disaster mitigations. And of course, if there is a cyclone like that, it happens if if, okay, and there's a threat about it, what should communities do to prepare every single thing? I mean, it's a disaster. We'll never know, but are we prepared or not? And how did you prepare it?
Yes, thank you very much. This is why we need to be clear on how we communicate risk. What our colleague from the MKG, Pak Saepudin, mentioned is that this is the threat that we are facing. Heavy rain, high waves, and strong winds. So that means it can be as simple as bring your umbrellas if you're going to go outside.
A raincoat.
Bring your equip your children with rain jackets and everything to prevent illness. But also can be as severe as don't go to the sea if you are fisher folks. Watch out for high waves because this is going to be very dangerous. And also, if you're living in areas where it's very prone to landslides, if you're living in the hilly areas, maybe then it's time for you to check whether there is a possibility of landslides, or there's possibility of ground movement, or if you're living nearby water systems, rivers, then is it possible that you're going to be flooded? If that is the case, then that means you need to protect your belongings, your valuables, your electronics, and you need to know where, if you, when and where, if you have to evacuate. So simple messaging like this can be life-saving. Interventions, and also it prevents illness, it prevents losses of economics and everything.
That's the big question, Pa. How did this community itself warn the members and all the communities around them? What kinds of tool did they use to warn all the people? So we have an early warning system, of course, from the BMKG, right? And exactly, how do we, how this community itself can build a connection between each other?
That's a really good term. So I very much agree. Building connections is really key because right now the flow of information in this digital era is actually very, very fast. Very, very. People can access information. But what we're looking for is accurate information, clear, understandable, and actionable information. And this is what we are still weak. This is something that we still need to be improved. We have learned very good knowledge on COVID during pandemics era, where you can have a lot of information going on, but if you equip it with simple messaging, then it can be clearer for the community. People know how to access the information, and they can also act on it. So which is why we always suggest to you can always reach out to the social medias, to the websites, but these needs to be official and accredited information. So go to the website of BNPB, go to the website of BNKG to get to know on what type of actions that need to be done. In BNPB itself, there are informations about preparedness activities that we can do before, during, and after for all kind of hazards, including landslides, floods, and other weather-related disasters, or other types of hazards as well. You can also reach out to your and local humanitarian organizations as well. There's a lot of community groups, humanitarian organizations on the ground that have informations or knowledge about this. But it needs to be proactive. We are asking the whole community to start asking, so what do we need to do? So if Saepudin mentioned there is going to be 2 cyclones coming up, approaching or leaving Indonesia, there is going to be high waves, strong winds, or heavy rains, then what does that mean for us? This information needs to be clearly articulated to the community by official agencies, either from the national government or with the local government agencies as well.
Okay.
And just one more point as well is that each information needs to be tailor-made, meaning that we know information coming from the MKT about these weather systems. But how does that translate to people working in agriculture, for farmers, for others? How does that relate to people working in the coastal areas? How does that relate to we've learned we know the tragic incidents in the beach where children get swept away by waves.
Wave.
If we can warn that in advance to hotels, to recreational sites, that there will be significant risk, so that means these are the necessary measures that needs to be done. These things can be prevented. So tailor-made information needs to be developed for specific sectors, but also public information needs to be accessible and easily to understand.
Okay. So it means that this community and also BMKG and also BNPB are working together. Is it right?
Well, that would be the question of should be posed to BMKG. But
Okay.
from our insight, BMKG is also closely working with BNPB and also the PPPD, the local branch of the disaster management office. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to know what BMKG worked with BNPB on this.
Okay. Well, next questions that the impacts actually that I want to know for the cyclones, because you've already mentioned, Pak Saepudin, about the two cyclones that will happen in the future according to the predictions or according to the accounts of the BMKG itself. And of course, the impact will be like not only heavy rains and also strong winds and others, right? There will be other things too. But don't answer that right now because I'm going to give you one wonderful song first. Okay, Pak Saepudin, be patient. And also Pak Avianto, I'm going to give you a song. The song is coming from Ivi Alisa with What About Us?
Voice of Indonesia.
And for a listener, that was a wonderful song to listen. That is the big questions. What about us? What exactly going to happen with the people who are having an impact or affected by the disasters? And we are still talking about cyclones right now. Pak Saepudin, earlier, I'm asking you about the impacts, how big the impacts of this near future two cyclones that you've mentioned earlier.
Yes, the impact of by today recently analysis by BMKG that we have two tropical cyclone fins, two tropical cyclone. Number one is fins, which the location of the tropical cyclone is already far away from Java Island, from the island. It's around 2,000 kilometers, but the impact is only to the sea. So it can generating high sea wave over 2.5 meters in the waterways of Bengkulu to Lampung. And then for the tropical cyclone Talia that I mentioned before, that same with the fins, that the position or location of the Talia tropical cyclone is already far away from Indonesia too. Mm-hmm. It's around 1,000 kilometers from Bali, of course. But the system can generate moderate to heavy rainfall and strong winds and lightning for the next 24 hours in southern part of Banten and then West Java, Central Java, and parts of Yogyakarta. So that's the impact for the today tropical cyclone.
Oh, okay. That means it's going to happen today.
Yes, and then for next 24 hours.
Oh, okay. For 2 days in a row, we have to be very careful. So for those of you who are out there or planning a lot of activities outside your home, you better be careful and prepare every single thing that you need, right, Pak Avianto, right? Because actually, there's also a lot of things that the community can do to prevent. Can we prevent cyclone, Pak Saepudin?
Yes, of course we can prevent because we can forecast the development of the cyclone before maybe three days before.
Ah, okay, 3 days before. So if we already know, Pa Avianto, it means that the community can also help to reduce the impact or maybe reducing the cyclones from happening. What should we do
Yeah.
about that? Yeah. Do we have a program for
So-
that from the community?
We definitely can prevent the impact. So, for instance, like in the same logic, like we cannot prevent an earthquake, but we can prevent the buildings to fall down. So we can prevent heavy rain, high waves, strong wind. It will keep continue happening. It will. We always be at risk on that because we are in the tropical country. We're sitting in the equator, and etc. But there's a lot of things that we can do. And a lot of these things can be done individually. It can be done at the household level, and it can be done at the community level as well. At the household level, you can do as simple as prepare your go bag. So, what are the disaster kits that you need to prepare? For instance, like if you have to evacuate, that means you have to bring your flashlights, you have to bring emergency food, emergency clothes, you need to bring first aid kits, prepare other things that you need to do if you have to go outside and evacuate from your home. The second thing is that you need to know where to evacuate, whether you're going to your siblings, your grandfather, grandmother house, or going to the community buildings. You need to know where to go, and people in the house needs to know that, so that there's an agreement that if you got separated, you know how
Where to
to be together in case of a disaster event. The third part is you need to practice. We always say we pray for the best, we prepare for the worst. So that means that we need to know if there's something happen, if you have a risk of getting impacted by strong winds or floodings or landslides. What is your actions that you need to do before, during, and after? Create a preparedness plan. Studies shows that if you don't have a written plan, people will forget, or people will tend to be
Just do some panic.
do things that is not being planned because of
Yes.
panic and chaos.
Yes.
Right. So make a written household preparedness plan. Sit down together with your family and agree on that. At the community level, there's so many things. If your communities are prone to strong winds, so that means you need to take making sure that there are no objects that can be flown and be dangerous to people. So that means if there are old trees that can be fall down, you have to take care of that. If there are billboards or electric poles, things like that, that can be dangerous to the community, then that means you need to take care of that. If you're facing in flooding areas, that in making sure that your channel drainage is clear, or river is also not being blocked by garbage, waste, and anything like that. So there's a lot of things that can be done. It needs to be clearly communicated to the people, and there needs to be someone who leads it.
Okay.
That's
Well, that is not normal here in Indonesia, especially for the Indonesian people to prepare themselves to be aware of a disaster, right? Because not many people are aware of that. And it's not a common things to do here in Indonesia for the people. And normal things that they will do when disaster happens is panic. That's what people react and respond at first. And to be able to do everything that you said, Pa Avianto, earlier, panic is not on the list, right? And I think...
Absolutely.
Yes. So how can we manage the people not to get panic easily when disasters come?
Yes, so we have been working closely among the humanitarian organizations, aid agencies in across Indonesia to to strategize on this. First, panic comes from lack of knowledge. If you don't know what you're facing, then it becomes panic. You don't know what you're facing because lack of information. But also, what type of information that we are talking about is that the type of information that easy to understand and actionable. So that means we need to make sure our information is being understood by the people and they know what to do. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So that's the key thing. So that means that if BMKG says that there's a tropical cyclone coming into Indonesia, then what does that mean for me if I'm living in Bengkulu or in Lampung?
Yeah.
What do I need to do if I'm in the coastal areas? So that's one. The second part is for us to not panic is practice. You have to do simulation. Simulation or refreshing the preparedness plan is something that makes us more calm, more stable, more able to make decisions when there are crises. I worked as a humanitarian professional for 15 to 20 years, and I have been gone through earthquakes many times.
Okay.
At the beginning of my first experience of earthquake, that was shocking. But the next one and the next one is becoming like, oh, okay, this is what the earthquake does, and this is what I need to do. So the same mindset needs to be done for floods, for landslides, for strong wind, or any other extreme weather or any type of hazard. We need to practice. We need to understand what the hazards and just practice on how to evacuate, knows your evacuation routes, where you put your disaster kits, where you put your go bags, things like that. Simple stuff, but it can be life-saving.
Okay, so Pak Saepudin, those are the steps that the communities already they're already prepared to face the disaster. And from the BMKG itself, if I've heard, I know actually BMKG also has an application that could warn people if they download it on their phone, right? But if they do not download it on their phone, how the people would know if the disaster is not happening in front of their eyes?
Yes, of course, that's another problem, yeah. But to enhance the disaster preparedness regarding the tropical cyclone awareness, BMKG integrated its early warning system with BNPB, BPBD, Regional Disaster Management Agency in the province, and the Ministry of Transportation and other key sectors. So this ensures that weather warning are embedded with a national disaster response system and allowing for faster and more coordinated action in response to extreme weather threats. So we hope that this coordination will minimize the gap of the communication to the people. So I think we have to manage all the system communication based on the social media, based on the manual communication or the dialogue direct to the community is quite good for the dissemination of information and the warning. I think is that.
Okay, those are the steps that are already prepared by the BMKG. Besides that, of course, I think it will be much better if the people are also download an application from the BMKG because they can know what will happen, what kinds of disaster that they will be facing, right? Pak Saepudin, in accordance to that, whether it's a cyclone, earthquake, floods or tsunamis and everything. And also, Pak Avianto, is it the community itself obligate to download an app for them to do or prepare themselves to a disaster?
I don't think that would be the right approach.
Okay.
Again, learning from the pandemic, for instance, we at that time we were obligated to download an app called, I think it was Satu Sehat or something, where if you have to prove your vaccination and everything, but you don't have to you don't have the awareness and the willingness. So rather than make it obligatory, make it create the demand, create the awareness, saying that this is actually a really important tool, a really useful information, and if you use these applications, you can actually track what's been going on in your area,
Yeah.
especially on weather-related information. So I would rather use that approach, creating the demand coming from the community itself, to have a sense of ownership. And from that ownership, you have a good understanding. You have good a lot of people who have understanding on what's going on. But also, aside from application, from our study, one of the critical point that is needed is two-way communication. So it's not just about the government responsible in telling people what to do, but also what the community feedback coming from that information. So if I ask the question, do we know that the people in Bengkulu and Orlampung receive the information of the early warning and understand what to do?
Yeah.
We don't have that answer.
Yeah.
Because the community cannot provide the feedback. So we need to have the mechanism for there are two-way communication, so that if I'm a household, if I'm a farmer, I can find the information, I can receive the early warning, but I can also check back on whether my action is correct or not. And that mechanism is not yet established, and this is the thing that this is our homework that needs to be done.
Okay, huge homework, Pak Avianto. And of course, this is the last but not least the questions. Of course, what exactly are your hopes to both of you? What is your hope for the people itself to be able to face the disasters, any kinds of disaster, Pak Saepudin?
Yes, I want to deliver the key step people should take when a severe weather warning and is issued, because we have to enhance the awareness about the impact when the weather is coming up.
Yeah.
So when a severe weather warning is issued, it's crucial to act quickly, of course, and effectively to ensure safety. The first step is stay updated and informed by following official update from BMKG. That's mentioned before. We can access the social media, we can access the website, we can also access the application. And then in the TV or radio or local announcement is also essential, as a weather condition and can change rapidly. And then continuous monitoring helps individuals stay aware of potential risks. Avoiding high-risk area is another important measure also, and especially for those living in flood-prone, landslide-prone, or coastal region. And if necessary, residents should be ready to evacuate and must avoid crossing river or area affected by high waves. And if instructed by local authorities, they should move to safer ground immediately. So this is not only homework for BMKG, but also the other authorities, just like BPBD or BNPB also. So we BMKG cannot do it ourselves. So we have to collaborate with other authorities to develop the awareness of the peoples.
One more organization from the community of Pak Avianto can help you maybe to elaborate and promote, or how do you say, tell the people to do a lot of things about that, right, Pak Avianto? And okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time today. And I hope you are doing well, and hopefully we all been avoided from the disaster, because we are aware to do and prepared ourselves to know what to do when the disaster is coming. And thank you very much for your time, Pak Avianto, and also Pak Saepudin from BMKG and also from the community. And of course, we'll see you again.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, and of course, for listener, that was our interview with Bapak Saepudin from the BMKG and also Pak Avianto from one of the community to mitigate disasters warning. And we'll be right back with you again next week, of course, with more dialogues that hopefully could enlighten and give more information for you.
Voice of Indonesia.